What's up, guys? I'm Mike.
I'm Luke.
Today we're back to discuss the newly evolved OP06 format. We're talking about the metagame, what we think it's going to be looking like now that extra boosters out, and of course ST13, which has been out for a little bit, but definitely has a lot more tools with the extra booster set out. We are starting here with our original tier list that we nailed for the format.
Definitely.
And we're not going to go through every deck again. If you want that, you can go to our other video or wait for 07, where we'll definitely go through everything individually. But for now, we're going to start with adding where we think the new decks are and then rearranging from there all the old decks that have already existed. Before we get into this, Luke, what are some decks that you think are really big in this format?
Honestly, Enel is one of the biggest ones that I'm thinking is huge. And also, actually, I'm personally piloting right now. So there's that one. I think Black Yellow Luffy is the other one. And I think a third sleeper is actually Sabo, Red Yellow Sabo.
Really?
I think it's a third sleeper. I'm seeing a lot of lists going that are going 7-1, 10-1. So
I have definitely been high on Sabo and looking at how it plays on this is a US player deck. This is NAAF, straight up. Well, starting with that, I mean, like you said, I think NL is the regional winning deck. I think new tools help its aggression play so much.
Yeah.
And I actually think the Katakuri gets the top cutting because of this, because I think the format's getting overall a bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
And NL's tools are gonna, I think, overall just win out over Katakuri's tools. Even though obviously Katakuri has 10 mom, I mean, it speaks to how good the flexibility of NL's game plan is now.
It feels like 10 Dawn plays aren't being as favored as much anymore because the loss of tempo and then just not being able to do things after that feels bad.
The 10 Dawn play, I feel like right now it either needs to be half play or half interaction plus equipping, or it needs to be I'm literally just slamming Dawn on, or I'm tapping out because I'm playing multiple spells, right? Like a Moria plus 2 thing turn is a way of doing it, but at that point you're usually establishing 3 bodies plus removing stuff. NL's Okami is huge, or no, sorry, did somebody say Kami? And then the new 6 jump event, I always forget what's called. Do you remember what it is?
Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Yeah, those cards are great. Even just cards like Flambe, I always call it Flambe. Flambe existing in the format, I think is really huge for it.
Yes.
2K counter, let you free get down to your leader's trigger when you need to, or get under, you can play the Flambe to get 2 cards to hand to then play the Yamato you're already gonna play and then net that card back.
It's a very, very good turn 1 play, especially for NL where he wants to go down really fast. So getting that and then immediately getting 2 cards in hand, really good. And I don't think putting or any of those hand counter things are as prevalent as we were gonna think that they were.
Oh, the putting put your hand back, redraw.
Yes,
well, with the exception of what I think is one of the other decks we need to move up, and we're getting super early on this. We'll come back to that, which is RP Law. I think no one's gonna debate that RP Law is one of the best decks. I do, in my opinion, think that Sakazuki existing in the format keeps this a little bit under. It has a really not great Moria matchup. The Saka matchup is better now thanks to having Killer and Kid. You have 7 to 8 rush characters between them and Zoro at this point on average. And without the purple Sanji from the next set, where it's a really easy to play 6 cost body, which makes it hard for Sakazuki to just KO off rip. You do a lot of builds like I am right now. I'm super in on playing Ace in my build because of Sakazuki existing, because of Moria existing, and it's hard to remove that 7k, 7 cost body. But Sanji's really the better one because it comes in on cheaper. It is a 2k counter. It blocks. And so, I think it's not the best regional winning deck right now, but it's definitely on that tier where it's this is going to take an event, and if it doesn't, you're going to be seeing this show up in top cut. Probably to red-green wall conversion rate success, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment. This deck is insanely punishing and very, very strong, especially to decks that want to propagate board and it immediately beats down Zoro. So
but let's get to all the new leaders we have to rank. So we have to rank the 3 brothers and the 3 EB leaders, and then we can come back to rearranging some other stuff. So let's start with Yellow, Black, Luffy. Luke, where do you think Yellow, Black, Luffy is?
I think it's top cutting. I don't think it's regional winning though.
I disagree.
Yeah?
I think it's a regional winning because, in my opinion, it has a really good matchup into NL and Moria specifically, and I think it becomes the the reverse Kata OP03 thing where Kata was the best deck, but you didn't play it a lot in that format because the other best decks just trounced you with Red Green Law and Whitebeard. And I think this is a reverse where it has such a good play against decks we're going to see that you just run it anyway. The red-purple law matchup is dicey. I feel like, I know there's skill involved with it, but I feel like especially when the players know what they're doing in that matchup, it feels like it's very luck-based because if you just slam more aces, you will just beat the law player because you can't bottom deck an ace unless you double bottom deck remove, and the rush is just like really good against the 4-life leader. So I think it has play against law as well. So I think it's like at the bottom. Like now that they have Flampe and it's harder to deny them between 4 Flampe and 4 Hiyori, I think this deck, I would bet money that this deck wins a major event. If only not because there's so few. I think this has the power to do it, but I would put it at the bottom of this list for sure.
And I mean, today's a Treasure Cup also, so if Black or Yellow Luffy takes it...
Yeah, if this video comes out and you're like, guys, what do you mean it's already done it?
I know.
We recorded this on Saturday the 11th, so there you go.
Yeah. And I think, Law probably does really, really well against this deck because it can propagate a bigger board than it can...
Well, it goes both ways. That's what I'm saying. So actually, no, that's what, it's like 50-50. It's like really good or really bad.
Oh, okay.
You can either get through to them because they have to play such a dicey late game, sometimes their hand ends up being a lot less counter power. But they make their leader plus 2k with the small dudes, so then you can't like go wide because you have to invest Dawn. Your Dawn is already sensitive. They have Ace, which you can't just Gordon bottom deck. You need to invest 2 reducers to. The matchup is definitely a lot harder than people think it is, and in my opinion, it's one of those matchups where like on paper it's probably closer to like 50-50 or 55-45, but once you get out of like both your players' second turn, someone's usually like really hard in the driver's seat, and it feels like it's like 70-30. Next we have Sabo. So why don't, I mean, you've been doing way more Sabo research, it seems like.
Doing a lot of Sabo research. I have seen a couple of lists floating around that, again, have topped. Like, they've gone 7-1, they've gone 8-1, 10-1. So I think this is, I think it's top cutting, but I think it's on the cusp of Rogan top cutting because not a lot of people are prepared for this deck, not a lot of people are running it. But a lot of the major lists that I'm seeing are like running Karasu's, of course, and then like kind of abusing like Revo propagation while adding in Kid and Killer. So I mean that's just too good. Just
having Kid and Killer in like a red go big aggressive deck for me like this like is good enough to get in there with how many 4-life leaders we're seeing in this format. So I can agree with that getting top cutting. I think the tool set it has is really good, and I think that it's definitely a kind of deck that I look at Japan and what they favor to play, regardless of how good things are, and I didn't expect to see like a lot of the ingenuity that I think this deck still has on the table there, and I'm excited to see what NA players are going to do with this as well.
It's such an NA deck. It's just triggers and Unga.
It's triggers, Unga, and it's go fast and go big at the same time. So pretty great.
Pretty good for McDonald's Sabo.
But speaking of UCLA though, it's like it's stay at locals. I love this deck. I think once we have OPO7 like the new blocker ace, we can debate whether it's rogue. Like we get some like the boa tools are really nice in it, and the blocker ace having our ace target in a 2-color where we don't have like the other targets. Like there's nothing else to cheat in blue and yellow for the small boys, so you're really only using the yellow ones on the deck right now. I just think it's too inconsistent at best. Like the best thing it has is it leans in the pudding, and it leans in the card advantage between like generating the face up to get off things or to use it for like Sabo from hand or the activation for the Luffy on board. But otherwise, it's just, as much as I love it, it's cute, and I can admit it's cute. But not to say you can't win games with it. I just don't see it doing impactful things in a 9-round event.
And Viola doesn't really help this deck either with this, right? No, even though
I don't think it's worth playing on Viola to. I mean, well, okay, it's good because you can just rearrange your life to set up boys, which is good. But like, if you're talking about like the turn face down thing, not really, because you can only generate one face up anyway. A turn, so you're not like gonna mass.
It's not even good healing, really.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth. I mean, you're probably still running Viola. To a degree. I just don't think it's doing anything to help it against the matchups it's having problems with.
Makes sense.
I think the deck objectively, I think all the 3 brothers because of Extra Booster are objectively better than when they were released. I just do not think the only reason that Sabo is better is because it gets a broken card like Kid and Killer. The reason Luffy is better is because it was already doing really great, powerful things, but your opponents can deny you even less now because you have Flampe. So it takes out like the one hole that was like giving your opponent a grudge match on it. The ace wasn't so much having a hole in it, its power level wasn't rising to what it needed to be. And again, a lot of that's because it doesn't have extra color stuff. Sabo has the extra red Luffy, which is one of the best like cards we've seen in the game. The yellow black Luffy has black Sabo, and Gecko Moria, but like in terms of the cheats, has black Sabo, which helps you filter for everything else. Protects your board, like one of the best cards in the game. Like you see decks play all the time.
But the blue version of the boys are just
has nothing. Well, there's no blue version of the boys.
Oh yeah, true.
So you have your deficit on the boys, and the ones that exist aren't like, I mean, the Rush Ace is Rush Ace. That card's crazy, but yeah. So I'm just trying to be fair with my boy Ace because I love him so much. And as much as I'm going to hype him up, I'm going to side table the bias,
Yeah.
Kozuki Oden!
Oden!
I think this deck is rogue. I think if you told me this deck top cutted like every event, like one top cut made in, I believe it. 6k body's huge. The Ezo interaction is huge. Dropping 5 costs, so it's hard for black to pop is huge. Dropping 7k power, so the red purple law game bottom deck is huge. I think it becomes better based on the other decks that start rising up here.
And all your cards being 1k counters are
you're basically your opponent can never assume you have a dead hand. Ever. Like if you they can't just be like, oh, he has the Whitebeard in hand. Like that's like, or the Hody in hand. It's like they can't do that. You get Rad Beam. I think this deck's sweet. I think the only thing is like it just needs the Atama to be like consistently slamming Hiyori on turn 2 or turn 3 if you go first. But I think this deck will you will see a few make like top 64 here and there. But if you also told me it made top 64 in every single event between now and OPO7, even just one copy, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I believe in NA. Like,
I think the deck's just better than people give it credit for in general. I mean, yeah, I think the only thing about it, and also on the rush down, right, with Red Purple Law, it's because of 6k body, so the black yellow Luffy, it's hard to just use your whiteboard control. NL is a little bit different because it's playing a rush 7k, so it's a different form factor. But I guess NL, it wants to go later into the matchup, so it gets time to set up pretty easily, and then it just builds its board, and you attack every turn. The only bad thing is you have to kind of activate the Enel ability because you do have to attack with Oden to get at 6k, so at some point your opponent's just gonna take it probably just because they know you're only doing it to get the 6k and then they're gonna get their free life. But yeah, I think this deck's pretty cool.
All right, I'm seeing a lot of crazy brews for this guy. I
told you, dude. I told you it's stapled on a ramp. The Magic player I mean told me that
put it in there. Put it in there.
You think it's rogue?
I think it's rogue. Put
really?
It in there.
Okay. I'm gonna listen for you. Because it's not a fascist enterprise here. I'm gonna put at the bottom of rogue. I think this stays at locals. I think the problem is Sadie is the only way you gain advantage through the ramp because we don't have an on-play ability card or an activate main card that we can drop to get the value and then return it to hand.
And, get it,
and you have to see those jailer beasts, means you have to run a certain number of your deck to keep seeing them. You can also just not see them. That being said, ramping in the big blue and purple stuff is flipping cool.
I mean, so the list that I'm seeing are using Domino, turn 1, and then flipping that, and then like you said, you're not getting an on-play value.
You're using Domino or using the Prince Bellet. The Domino searchable by Hannyabal, obviously, but the Prince Bellet is a 2k counter in hand. So
it's really cool, and a lot of the people that I've been running to in Sim actually have been getting done 9 at turn 3, turn 4.
Yeah, I talked about it in the guide. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's oppressive.
And if you're doing it with Sadie, you're also still adding cards on the board. And Champion Rifle.
Champion Rifle is really
Champion Rifle. Really good. I just wouldn't bet money on it, having the proper rogue matching up to get top cut in at least one event, which is kind of where we put the rogue things at, right?
Yeah.
But I would like it to. I just haven't seen the data, and I haven't, even from my testing with the deck guide, I want to believe it can happen, but I just think it's not doing. The ramping is broken.
Yeah, the ramping is broken, but until we get
the cost of the way you have to build your deck for this, though, I feel leaves it a little bit open as a 4-life leader. If this is a 5-life leader, I think this would be far and away a contender. I think literally if it's a 4-life leader is what puts this thing behind.
Yeah, but it has access. The other thing that makes me think it could be okay is because it has access to 8-cost Bersolino.
That's true.
Which is pretty good. Also,
wait,
if you don't have
7-cost Bersolino.
Sorry, 7. Yeah, 7 costs. My bad.
7-cost Bersolino, both the Kyros, Mihawk, Rush Kaido. I said both the Kaidos, both the 10 drop Kaidos, but also Sanji. Rush Kaido, Sanji, Kick Horse, Baby. And Champion Rifle.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about Kyros? Because you're working on the Kyros guide.
It's unplayable, bro. It's unplayable. Don't even worry about it. Don't even.
Bro, you've been hyping up the guide. What do you mean? Why would you not hype it up the first time we talk about it on video? This is gonna come out before the guide.
Because it's my sauce. It's my sauce. That's why. Okay, so Kyros, I wanna call it rogue.
Whoa, I don't have any knowledge, so I'm gonna let you do it.
I don't think it is. I want to call it rogue. The guide that's gonna be coming out. I talk about how basically this leader is a wall install leader that then you play like a big character on board for.
It feels like NL on release.
Yes.
Based on how you've explained it to me so far.
Exactly. Yeah. It's NL on release. And then but Hannyabal will absolutely out tempo it.
Oh yeah, not in a one-on-one. I just meant its win percentage across everything else.
In this meta where we're kind of favoring building a board and waiting until endgame kind of I think it has potential. I think it has potential. I don't want to call it rogue. I don't want to call it rogue because it's gonna be cope, but when it tops it event, you know whose guide you need to watch and who said it first. I really think that it has a lot because it does a really good matchup against NL. It has a really good matchup against NL. I haven't played it into red purple yet. Against Gecko Moria, it's pretty good as well because again, you're creating all these these blockers who can be KO'd by effects, or if they can be KO'd by effects, you've already on-played it. So Viola, if you play Viola blocker, you've already gotten that value off of that. If you play Shirahoshi and they pop it, then you're okay, cool, awesome, thank you. That's great. And then you play Sabo, you have access to 4-cost Borsellino. So these are pretty good tools against Gecko Moria. So that's why I think it's going to be good. But then with Sakazuki still existing,
right. Well, that does it for all the new leaders. I want to take some time to just kind of go through, I think, top to bottom and just think about anything we want to remove.
Reassess them.
I mean, Moria, Sakazuki is still up there. NL's not up there. We already moved Cat out. I think the regional winning tier, nothing moves from there. We'll see if anything goes up. Top cutting, we currently have Katakuri, Reiju, Yamato, Perona, Nami, Purple Luffy, and now Sabo. I want to offer out the Purple Luffy is now a rogue deck.
That's a rogue deck.
It just actually, I think it actually stays at locals. It doesn't get any real tools from EB. It actually becomes worse with cards like Killer and Kid in the format. So I think we had it in top cutting. I put it there.
Yeah.
It didn't perform even in a rogue status, and I can't see how the decks that are moving up give it any better chance of performing.
Yeah.
So I have to knock it down personally.
Yeah. I think Reiju is kind of in that boat.
I think Reiju is rogue. I was going to offer up putting in a rogue because it still has really unique playlines. It loses points because Law exists as a top deck now, but I think it does gain some points in the way that the Brothers decks play, for example. It gives them more time to really set up and start churning out that value. In my opinion, I haven't played. I'm not a Reiju player, but my observational opinion is that it loses points against the deck that you're going to see more as can perform more against.
Yeah.
But the field as a whole, I feel like it isn't awful.
I feel like just based off of the fact that we're gonna see more red purple Law, it makes it kind of
okay. You think it's that bad?
I think it's that bad.
Okay.
I think that the player pool for red purple Law is gonna be.
Do you think it's gonna be bigger than red green Law? Because I always think it's gonna be red green Law size, but you think it's gonna be bigger than that?
I think it's gonna be bigger.
Okay, interesting.
I think it's gonna be bigger because I think I think of the card pool. I don't actually think that. I was gonna say of the card pool, that one is easier to get. But I don't
Reiju or
RP Law. But I think
it's way harder.
Massively harder.
In the moment, it's harder.
Massively harder.
Gordon and I'm not playing the 4-drop Law, but there's especially more in the format. There's reasons to play the 4-drop Law that. Those are hard to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, top cutting. I like everything else. Nami's just still sitting there. Perona. There's the sick version. It's gonna be better in 07. But have you played around with or played against the Hiyori Perona deck?
I haven't actually.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. So you play Hiyori. You're just playing Perona.
Okay.
You're playing Hiyori to cheat green value outright, and then replace itself. But you can also play. You can be my samurai.
Oh.
So you use Hiyori as one of the tap targets, but then it leaves. So you can and you can even do it on real targets, right? So say you want to starve your opponent, which it does. Perona wants to do in a lot of matchups. So let's say I have a Ryuma on the board. You're like, oh, I have Ryuma. So I'll just rest the Ryuma in my other rest, and then they tag into it, I get the pop something potentially. So, and Sasuke body. So like, there's the really cool play lines with it.
No wonder people have been asking
you for words.
Yeah.
You were just like
sure,
so oblivious. Seb's been talking about it a lot in the Discord, so
he's
surprised.
been talking about it since 01 though. So you know, like when the like.
No, I mean the Perona deck. The Perona deck, not that card.
Okay.
The Perona deck.
He's been talking about that card though.
He has been talking. He's been talking
about that card specifically. He's been talking about that since 01. He's like, this is such a good card if it was better. I'm like, yeah. So.
Yeah. So moving into Rogue, we already talked about Oden being here. We just moved Reiju into here. We put Hannyabal in here.
Seeing Whitebeard taking some like regionals in Latin America.
So here's what I want to say. I think Whitebeard and Zoro are both top cutting simply because they're getting like the card is so good, and we already have seen them like taking spots before as the rogue category.
Yeah.
So now we're just making it better, and then we're also placing 4 life leaders into the top cut priority.
Oh yeah.
Which gives them an advantage.
They're so good at
so
that. Yeah.
I feel like I have to give it an upgrade.
Yeah.
They'll at the very least perform at rogue level still, but I think these are worth contenders in terms of like portions of the top cut being taken by these consistently.
Yeah.
I think Red Green Law is an interesting place where I think this actually moves up the rogue because of a card like Red Green Killer because Cavendish is out, but unfortunately, having Sokka still in the format and Red Purple Law is hard. I'm excited to play. I told everyone, I warned everyone, so if you forget, it's on you. The one locals we have before 07 comes out where Sokka is banned, I'm playing Red Green Law. I'm gonna do it. So you better be ready because that shit's nasty with Killer and Kid and Cavendish. I think Ace stays in Rogue because of Killer and Kid for the same reason. Like, some of the interaction point cards like would make me want to stay at local, but simply because Kid and Killer now exists, I want to keep in a Rogue.
I think Uta is pretty top cutting in Rogue as well. I think it's better than Oden, I'll be real.
Yeah, I think this card is on the cusp. So with the new 2K Sanji, I'm talking about this. Big 2K Sanji in the blocker, I think there's like a precipice where it's like people either favor the red aggression. Like I think here's my opinion. Here's my hard opinion, right? I would say is that this, but when we reflect on this at the end of the format, and we'll do like a 2-week check-in like we usually do.
Right.
Udo will be top cutting margins, or Sabo will be top cutting margins, and the other one will be Rogue.
Yes.
One of these. So NA will either lean into these red tools, or they'll lean into this bigger green aggression that exists with Uda. And I think it'll be one and not the other. And the other one will still do well, but it will not be doing the same numbers simply because people do not want to play it.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of Fortress Uta builds also running around, and I'm not sure how I like that one, but like
I think they're all valid, especially because you don't know what you're playing when you start. It's like the Whitebeard
it's the Yamato
shenanigan. Yeah, it's the Yamato shenanigan. So yeah, I think like I'm gonna keep it at the top of Rogue because like I do suspect NA shenanigans from the Sabo data I've been seeing. Like you've seen the data, I've seen the chatter, and I'm like, and this is already a known element. So like I'm always gonna think if the known element isn't a dominant force, I'm gonna always think it's gonna go down and go up. So I'd rather just leave it at Rogue for now. Queen's still fine. I think RP Luffy goes on the locals.
I think it's still locals,
yeah, it just gets
even with Kid and Killer. I mean, it doesn't.
Dunkyoto to Flamingo fail less goes down to locals. I think Zephyr stays up. I've seen some weird ass Zephyr list. No, I've seen some weird ass EB Zephyr list stuff going on. So I'm willing to just move it to the bottom. Zephyr. Yeah, or just did.
Or played Zephyr.
Yeah. So there's something. There's a will. There's a will of Z, if I may. Crocodile, I'm going to downgrade. And use this Captain Kid now that Uda is at full force, so we're downgrading that.
Yep.
Are we moving anything up and down for stay at local? So we moved all these down.
There was part of me that really wanted to move Kinemon at some point, but no.
Oh, I think Yerpul Croc is a rogue.
Yerpul's a rogue.
I think Yerpul's a rogue.
Yeah.
I think the Wednesday's crazy. So.
Dude, I ran into a very, very cool yellow Big Mom list.
Yeah.
It was very fun. Especially with all the setting up shenanigans that are happening lately.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, with the Hiyori setups, with all these other
setups. And you flampe draw two, just activate Mom.
Yeah. It's really, really cool.
That's cool.
I think it still stays at locals.
Yeah. But, I think aside from this Croc, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And then card decks. I mean, I'm putting Hody down here. I mean, I haven't seen him at local.
I'm gonna move Vivi. I'm gonna move Vivi to.
Oh, Vivi up, yeah. Yes. Vivi, I'm not gonna lie. I said to Elias, I'm like, this deck is not as good as you are performing with it, and that's a compliment to you as a player.
Yeah.
Like this deck it has like really cool angles. It's like a really solid original traditional type of control deck, it is not as good as you're performing, and that's all you. So you should feel like really good about that.
I believe that too, because I haven't won against Elias or against this deck in a long time.
And I was saying also, like, we talked about Ryan, like, off camera, but we'll say on camera, like, Ryan, and then, Carapatops. What's his name? Yeah, like, him and Ryan have, like, really accelerated, like, how good of a player they are, and the way they've approached some decks at local specifically has, like, really got me thinking about new things, which I think would be great for the channel specifically. So thanks, guys. Thanks for the juice. And yeah, so I think we're gonna start getting some a lot better data soon as, like, we start accelerating our player base as well, which is nice. Side note, I want to say I saw an article today of Vonkov like topped an 07 event or whatever today.
Just putting it there.
It went like 7 or 2. Yeah, so I'm moving it to top. I'm mad. Just so you're all
cooking up a king list right now, actually. So, like, unironically, yeah, there we go. Let's go. I'm calling the shot.
I think we're all good with everything else.
Everything else looks fine. It's right where they should be. Sean has been telling me that red and purple kid is not unplayable, but we'll see.
People, I was on that train for a while and I left it, and I tried to tell everyone on the train as I left that, like, guys, it isn't real.
You guys.
And they're like, no, it's still real to me, damn it. So, you know. But yeah, this is our prediction list for 06 format plus EB plus ST13.
You can put King back down. You can put King right
there. Yeah, he was on man.
No, he's unplayable.
Oh, well, he was on man before.
Oh, really?
So,
never mind. Just kidding. He can be a man.
I think with Mr. 2.
Mr. 2. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so what I want to say is that we'll be back in just a couple of weeks after a few events roll. Probably a little bit longer. It's also why this video's been uploaded longer, is because EB's legality in a lot of events was pushed back because of the delayed shipping. So for live stores and stuff like that. So once there's a couple events of weekends under the belt, we will definitely be back with, like, hey, how do we do? I want to go 2 for 2 on this.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that is gonna jump, like I said, is the Sabo or the Uda. Is gonna have like a switcheroo, and then either Zoro or Whitebeard will probably fall down the road. And one will stay though.
I think it's gonna be Whitebeard. I'm gonna be real.
I think it's gonna be Zoro.
Ooh.
I think the Zoro is strong in this one. But guys, let us know in the comment section down below what you think is gonna be doing great in this format. What are you guys gonna be playing for it, and what events are you going to? We're gonna be at LA Regionals.
Yeah, we are.
We're hopefully filming content there. And of course, if you see us, say hi and bring me your Laboons. Wait, where's the binder? Hold on, it's coming together.
It's coming together.
Oh, it's not in here.
Okay,
I have to cut it, but I'll do a Laboon binder update when we do we should do the meta update before LA Regionals, so we'll do a Laboon. If you have Laboons, common starter deck, common from EB, SR from EB, alt art from EB, and you don't want that shit, bring it to me. If the binder fills, I'll buy a new binder and start filling that binder. We're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop.
Laboon binders all the way down.
I want to fill this entire shelf over here with Laboon filled binders.
Okay.
Okay.
A big shelf, guys.
And until we see y'all next time, and as always, make sure to subscribe for more great One Piece content.
Thank you.